It's an absolute war zone. Kevin OLeary blasts California as the worst managed, least competitive state in America and calls San Francisco a rat hole. Where's the lie? Where is the lie? Kevin O'Leary is absolutely telling the truth about California. That's why people are fleeing California and moving to other states like Florida, Arizona, Las Vegas, Texas, and places like that to get out of that rat hole. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store. Also, check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from MoneyWise by way of MSNBC.com. And they report that blessed with stunning coastlines and splendid weather, California is renowned for its scenic beauty, dynamic urban centers, and diverse cultural fabric. But Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary is not a fan of the Golden State. He recently labeled it as the worst managed and most uncompetitive state in the country. And I agree. Between that and New York, and I would never visit California anytime soon. I would never visit New York anytime soon. And it's unfortunate because these are places that I really would like to visit. But because of the way it's being run, who really wants to go there? Who wants to deal with the crime? Who wants to deal with the rats? Who wants to deal with the poop on the streets? No one wants to deal with that. But O'Leary comments emerged during a recent Fox Business interview when he was asked about the push for a $50 per hour federal minimum wage by Rep. Barbara Lee, Democrat, of course, from California. And I'm going to play that clip in a minute. But could you imagine, like, you having a small shop and having to pay someone $50 an hour? I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. The market is supposed to dictate what someone's supposed to make, not not government. But quote, the problem with that narrative is it does not discuss the real root issue, O'Leary said. He specifically criticized San Francisco, describing it as an absolute war zone and citing it as an example of, quote, how you can get to being a rat hole over 10 years. So I'm going to play the clip here, and we'll follow along here. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of the closed captioning here. Captions off, and rewind it and turn the sound on. Here we go.
Right next to me here in New York. We always keep talking about how this debt is not sustainable, and sooner or later we run into a debt bomb and it explodes. Is that going to happen?
It can, and the reason it would be if rates went into double digits on inflation. We've seen this in the 70s before. Most people look at the national debt as a percentage of GDP. So the real question becomes, Stuart.
Okay, he's talking about the debt, but I'm going to let it continue to play because I'm not sure at what point he actually talks about San Francisco. So I'm just going to let it play.
Is how productive will the underlying economy remain? Because if it stays within range, and it's actually a little high right now, it's post-Second World War percentages. But the truth is that it's not extraordinarily high as a percentage of GDP. But if anything breaks in terms of productivity in the economy or rates go up, then it's a huge problem. And I think it's great we talk about it because we don't spend enough time pointing out that this risk is out there.
No, and no politician wants to cut spending.
No, that's the problem. Who would do that?
Who would do that?
Either side of the bench. I mean, elect me and I'll make your life miserable.
Look at us right now. We're running a deficit of around $1.5 trillion with the market, with the economy expanding at a 3% rate and the unemployment rate below 4%.
Yeah, but
how is this possible?
Except how do you do it? Think about it. My message is restraint and misery and no spending and no services.
You're not a very good politician.
Exactly.
You're dead, man. You're dead.
So that's just not going to work. And obviously, this is something that's going to have to be fixed long term.
What you got?
Well, Nikki Haley, I think, is trying to do this. I mean, she says the unpopular, that Social Security is going to run out, so we have to either raise the retirement age for which you can get it, and tell young people, don't expect it so soon.
How's
and
she
she's
doing?
getting eviscerated
How's
for
she
that
doing?
in ads by President Trump.
How is she doing?
But she's leveling with people because it needs to be done.
And how's that working for her?
It's not. but she's
I
at
rest my
least
case, Your
trying,
Honor.
and she's still in through South Carolina or to South
I
Carolina.
admire her stick-to-itiveness, but at some point she's going to run out of money.
This is older.
15, love to you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I'm sorry, but happy Valentine's Day, young lady. A federal judge ruled that Elon Musk must testify in the SEC possible
Okay,
securities
where does
fraud
he
thing.
talk about?
Are you okay with that?
I am. I believe in transparency.
I'm sorry, y'all. I was hoping it was this clip, but it might not be this clip where he actually talks about. I'm just gonna let it play. Let's see.
Elon's an unusual guy. I'm a huge fan. Obviously, the missiles keep coming in at him, and he just keeps, moving forward. Although it must eat up so much of his time. I look at it and ask, if I was going to ask him something about anything, would be, why do you want to spend so much time defending this stuff that you could have avoided in the first place?
Right.
On the other hand, he's so productive that you have to admire his success.
You've got to read the book, though.
Yeah, I know, it's interesting.
Very good book. This is just for you. A Senate candidate in California calling for a $50 per hour minimum wage. Roll tape.
In the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way, came out with a report that very recently, $127,000 for a family of 4 is just barely enough to get by. Just do the math. Of course, we have national minimum wages that we need to raise to a living wage. You're talking about $20, $25, fine. But I have got to be focused on what California needs and what the affordability factor is when we calculate this wage.
I think.
So instead of fixing the problem, the cost of everything being so expensive, instead of fixing that, lowering taxes and doing things like that, they want to lean on the businesses and have businesses raise their minimum wage instead of fix your terrible policies that's making it so expensive to live in California. That makes absolutely no sense.
She got to it eventually, $50 per hour minimum wage. What do you think about the government telling everybody how much they can make?
The problem with that narrative is it does not discuss the real root issue. California is the most uncompetitive state in the union. It is the worst managed on a state basis, and the city of San Francisco is an example of how you can get to being a rat hole over 10 years. It is an absolute war zone. So why not discuss better management of the resources versus just continuing to pay for inefficiency and lack of executional skills? That place is a loser state, the #1 loser state on my list of winners and losers.
100%.
#1 loser.
Got it. Kevin, one more here. NVIDIA. Oh, this just in.
All right, so California will never get any better because the people that run California will never, ever admit that their policies is the reason why it's so bad. They would never admit that. And that's the first step. The first step is admittance. And they will never do that because it will make they think their policies are the best. So California will never be fixed. I don't think it's going to get any better. It's going to get a lot worse. But let me know what you think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.